welcome everyone to Stupid But Necessary's Pop Culture Collision podcast. This is Aaron coming back after a long hiatus, and we've got some new people being added to Stupid But Necessary. One of them is with me right here, Zach. Why don't you say hi?
Hey, what's up? Glad to be here.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we've been gone for a while, and obviously this is a very different type of content that's coming out. We used to do the video game stuff, but we're gonna be branching out a lot, and this is one of the few things we're gonna be starting right now, and it's just gonna be me and Zach, maybe sometimes other guests on with us, just talking about movies, video games, TV, books, comics, music, whatever, really. We are into all of that. And this first episode here, while it might be rough, we're just going to kind of do an overview of what both me and Zach like, our favorites, what you might expect us to be knowledgeable on, and what we're kind of looking to watch or read in the future that we might cover. So, yeah, I think you want to give any information about yourself before we jump in?
I mean, there's not a whole lot more I could say. We're just a couple of geeks that want to talk about nerd stuff.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Um, so yeah, what do we want to jump into movies? I guess.
Yeah, movies is probably going to be one of our bigger topics, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so yeah, favorites. Do you want to go first?
Well, I can. I sure can. Well, I mean, I feel like a big one for both of us is definitely going to be the Marvel movies,
Oh
right?
yeah, the MCU.
MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those ones. Movies that it's. I mean, a groundbreaking idea for movies to have such a big shared universe. What is
Mm-hmm.
it now? Like probably it's well over 20 movies,
I'd say
almost
almost
30.
30. Yeah, almost 30. I don't know if you want to count the shows because they're not your typical TV shows. They're more like series. So if you count those in there,
But
you're definitely over 30.
yeah, but it's adding the TV shows. It's all one big connected thing. It's something that nothing has ever come close to it
No, it was
when
really
it comes to.
unprecedented, and nothing else has, other than maybe the DCEU, but even that has really struggled.
Oh, DCU. That is, I don't even know if they're still doing it. I think they stopped it once they put Joker out. They
They just
retcon
gave up.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, well, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
We couldn't even go more than one episode with without throwing Jared Leto under the bus.
Welcome to the We Hate Jared Leto podcast.
Yep, yep. uh, yeah. So MCU, yeah, definitely a big one for both of us.
uh, and then I'm like a wide range of genre type of guy. I'm gonna do anything from comedies to horror movies. I've got all sorts of stuff that we could talk about moving forward. What about you?
Me, I'm into a lot of fandoms. So along with Marvel, I also do like a lot of the DC stuff. While not all of them are great, you do have some standouts. Like the Batman this year, I think was amazing. I liked Aquaman quite a bit. Wonder Woman, at least the first one,
Right.
and I'll even say Shazam was like a really really fun movie, and it's really good to rewatch. Um, and then the
See, when
Dark
I
Knight trilogy. Yeah.
yeah, when I look at DC, that's what I was gonna say. The Batman Dark Knight, fantastic movies there, and then Aquaman was actually the surprise. The biggest surprise for me is just how good I actually ended up liking it. Because before that, Aquaman's the biggest one of the biggest jokes of a superhero.
Right.
A lot of the memes are just poking fun at him, but they actually really did it well there.
I think so too. And like Shazam, I don't know how much do you like that?
Well, with Shazam, I went in knowing very little about
Right.
Shazam at all, so the movie's really all I had to go off of for that one. So I didn't dislike it. It had its little comedic quirks and stuff like that
Right.
that kept the movie going. I always like those. What like when the movie, even if it's a serious movie, has these little comedic bits in it. That's always the best type of movie there.
Yeah, and I thought it was just it's just super fun. I don't know the way he's just this kid in an adult body, and I think Zachary Levi just nails that kind of role because
Yeah.
he's such a man child, and it's so much fun to watch him testing his powers and then go into a gas station and he's like, "Oh yes, I'm an adult. I'm going to buy some beer," and then they hate it. That is hilarious to me. But
It's relatable content.
yeah, definitely. um, so yeah, so DC, it's a love hate relationship sometimes. Their animated stuff is really good. Outshines pretty much all their live action stuff.
See
Uh,
that's I've been waiting to get into some of that stuff. I know that there's one. I think it's The Killing Joke.
mm, yep.
I've yet to see it, and it apparently is a very good. At least the comic is very good, and
Oh,
I
the
think the
comic is
anime.
phenomenal. Yeah, yeah,
I
and
assu-
hmm?
Go ahead.
Yeah, but Batman Year One actually I watched last year as well as I think it was the Under the Red Hood. Both of those were amazing. Great adaptations of comic books.
Yeah, as far as as far as comic book movies go and all that stuff, I definitely lean more towards the Marvel side of things. I think they have it a lot more held down. They don't have as
Mm-hmm.
many, uh, you know, di- well, how do I say it? They don't have as many decisive movies that are. A lot of people hate them,
Right.
and
You
a
don't
lot of
have as many
people love
box
them.
office bombs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Um, but there's other movies out there. Obviously, Disney's gobbling up everything they can, and I know you're a big Star Wars guy.
Star Wars. Yep. Yeah, that's a big one. That's also a love hate relationship these days. I think a lot of the newer stuff is lacking in the quality the old stuff had. But sometimes you'll get some really good stuff. Like The Mandalorian, I think, is a really good time. They ended up wrapping up the Clone Wars after a very long wait, even though Disney was the ones that shut Clone Wars down in the first place. But it was still, I don't know, it was a great finale there. And I don't know, even though I think a lot of the Disney Star Wars isn't great, I'll still watch it. I I'll take all the Star Wars content I can get. And sometimes it'll be fun, sometimes it won't. It's a mixed bag.
See, it'll take me some convincing for Star Wars, just kind of in general. Um, the original movies, they're just old. That they've got the old movie jank to them. I guess is what I'd call it. It's the As far as the newer ones go, I've actually ended up enjoying some of them. I really enjoyed Solo quite a bit. So
Solo was fun. It was a standout in the other sequels and stuff. And Rogue One as well, I thought was a pretty good Disney era Star Wars movie.
yeah, I mean it gets a lot of flack for the main character being a Mary Sue. Have you heard that?
Oh yeah, yep,
She's good at everything.
yeah. I think she does fit that pretty well. They do try to back it up in the final movie, but I think it's a discussion best left for whenever we touch on that because that's that's a lot.
Right? Don't want
Yeah.
to open the rant right now.
Yeah, no, no. We can leave that for another time. But for now, it's just let it be known that Star Wars is pretty core to me. Has been a lot of my childhood, my teenage years. So it'll definitely be a topic of conversation in the future.
Speaking about movies, though, I just recently got you to watch a anime movie for the first time.
Yes, yes, Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
One of the few movies this year that I've given 5 stars. The only other
Five.
ones being the Batman. and that actually might be it. Oh, the
What
Queen's
about
Gambit, but that doesn't really count. That's a
what
show.
about Dog?
Dog, I gave that like 4 stars. See, I say 5 stars for movies that are really special to me. Like if I know that the movie's like really good, but it's like not special to me, I'll give it like 4.5 stars. That's like the best I can give it. But like I could tell Spirited Away was like a special movie. Like a lot of care was put into it. So
Yes.
I couldn't give it only a 4.5. I had to give it 5 stars, and that's the same going for the Batman. I thought it was such a passion project. And then just other 5 star movies I have, like the original Star Wars movies, are almost all 5 stars, just because they are core to me.
See, as far as movie rating, I've never gotten really into movie rating.
No.
Even my favorite movie I know is easily not a 5-star movie. Like it I mean, my favorite movie is The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and it's hilarious to me. One
Right.
of the best comedies out there, but it's still got several. It's got issues that most comedies do, where they don't care as much about the story, obviously. So
Right.
they lean more into just you know random humor and stuff like that to get
Right.
going.
And I really, when I rate movies, I don't really get how I rate it, but usually when I leave a movie, I just have a number in my head already because I use Letterboxd, which I will actually link down below on the podcast if you're watching it on YouTube. Um, and you can see lists I've made. You can see what I've given films, what I've been watching, my diary on there. Um, but how I rate them, it's just kind of like 3 stars, like it was good, I enjoyed it. 4 stars is maybe like it was really good, it kind of surprised me. Like again, 5 stars is something I even maybe obsess over, I guess. So it's not really
Right.
based on quality. Sometimes it is. But it's never consistent.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to just your personal preference, and that's what it is, man. Um, I got to get you to watch some of these horror movies I like a lot, though, because you're not a big horror guy.
No, I think one of the few horror movies I've seen is like A Quiet Place and Jaws, I guess. But those are both kind of light.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, the very least, my favorite of those franchises, I got to get you to watch Saw. I know you might not like the gore in it, but the some of the most legendary movie twists I think of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I'll probably get around to once we get to Halloween. I feel like it's inevitable. But of course, there will be some things you'll have to check out that I like that you might not have seen.
Hey, I'm
Which
down.
I don't know if there will be much other than Star Wars. I mean, I do like Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings as well. Those are two of my favorite film franchises. So,
I've only ever seen the first Lord of the Rings movie. I'm not gonna
oh
lie.
boy.
It was a I don't know. I don't The reputation those movies have is just hours of walking. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing about them, and I was like, that doesn't sound interesting to me. I know they're more than that, but at the end of the day, that's what everybody's saying about them. So I'm like, yeah, I didn't ever check them out.
Right, yeah. I'm always surprised when I get people to watch them. Like there was a family friend of ours who she was like, "Ah, no, I'm not gonna like these." She had that same idea on the reputation of them, and yet to this day, I think she's watched them more times than I have, because she just puts them on while she's doing something, and she'll watch it, and sometimes she'll get really wrapped up in it. Sometimes it'll just be background viewing for her. It's like, all right, well, there you go. That was unexpected,
Right?
but
Yeah, they're
yeah,
go ahead.
they're a chore to watch. I'll admit that, but when you really dig into it, it's they're quite well made.
Hey, I mean, if they're good, I mean, fantasy genre is right up my alley most of the time. I'm usually into that a lot. So
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I'm not against watching almost anything. I'm good to try things.
Right, right. And hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Not everyone
Well,
will.
yeah, you know, if I don't like it, our friendship is over. But
Exactly.
that it's just that easy.
Yeah. All right, all right. Well, how
What about?
about yeah, television, I think.
Well,
Or
I
did
was
you have
gonna real
more?
quick.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna bring up the fact that you actually have goals for yourself when it comes to movies.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Right. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I started off with a New Year's resolution of watching 100 movies in 2022. And rewatches count, although I like just watching the same movie over and over again. I'm trying not to do that, so I'm trying to do mostly new stuff. And I think I'm on around 40 movies already, and that's counting the second time I viewed Doctor Strange or the rewatches of the Star Wars movies I did. So I counted all that. But with all that counted together, yeah, it's around 40 movies already. So I'm well on my way to reaching my goal.
yeah. I mean, you're an A-list member. You should be able to get movies really easy.
Yep, yep. As long as they look good, good enough to watch. That is. Usually the films that we see coming up, they don't look good. Although Top Gun Maverick is coming out this Friday at the time of when we're recording this, so I'm looking
Right.
forward to that. But I'd
See,
like to. I'd like to fill up the numbers with a lot of the other movies I want to see that are not in theaters anymore, older ones. So, yeah.
yeah, dude. Older school movies are those are some of the ones that I know a lot more about actually, because I stopped following new movies a long time ago, so I got a bunch of old school movies under my belt here.
Yeah, yeah. And there's quite like the Breakfast Club. I haven't seen that actually.
Really,
Yeah, Rain Man,
dude. The
16 Candles.
John Hughes movies are
Yeah,
great, man. Have
that's
you
what
ever
I've
seen
heard.
Ferris Bueller?
Yes, yes, I love
Okay,
Bueller. That's a good one.
that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, there's a ton of 80s movies. My mom's always pushing me to see 80s stuff. She got me to fall in love with it after I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I was into all the vibe of that movie, so she's like, "All right, we're gonna get you introduced to the music and the movies," and I'm in love with all of it. So I'm trying to see as much as I can.
Right. Well, we did touch up on it a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Marvel TV shows. But we could probably move on to TV now if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So you definitely have more experience on the television side of things.
Yes, I am a binge watcher. I'll go and I've rewatch. I've probably seen The Office several times, two or three times there.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through several like big sitcoms. I'll do all sorts of TV shows. Um, and I love them. I love TV shows. To me, are better than movies simply because they have more opportunity to do plot.
Right,
So when you have 13 episode season that are all a half an hour long, you're getting more content at the end of the day than you are with a 2 hour movie.
right.
Uh, and a lot of the shows do it really well. And um, like I said, I'm big into sitcoms. My favorite's probably New Girl.
Hmm.
How it
Yeah.
ended not too long ago. Brooklyn Nine just ended uh, last year. Um, those are just super big comedy shows that are always real good. And then I mean, my TV taste is all over the place. I got the the Disney Plus stuff. You got your AMC shows like Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big Walking Dead guy. Um, and I'm I heard that you hadn't even seen Breaking Bad yet, and that's one I
Yeah.
definitely get you to do.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely on my list.
Yeah, that I get that it's a bigger time commitment, but you know, if you can binge watch, you can get through you can get through several episodes a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It
And I do tend to binge watch when I get hooked onto something. I'll just that's all I'll do with my free time really. So it's just a
right.
matter of do I want to watch a TV show right now or am I more into a game right now or
Hmm.
movies? So it's something different.
Yeah, that I get that same feeling there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and then I guess I should say it while we're here. I'm also big into the CBS reality TV shows like Survivor,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like in 2 days I get a season finale, and I'm hyped. Probably I get hype on Wednesday I get a season finale. So I'm ready for it. I
Yeah.
get way too into the strategy elements of those. Uh, and I blame Total Drama Island. Uh,
uh,
those old cartoon shows, dude. They were
yeah.
spoofs on Survivor. They got me hooked on reality television.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you mentioned that the other day that that Survivor was one of your favorite shows. And I guess that just took me by surprise because like I watch some like on Hulu we watch Pawn Stars sometimes. Shark Tank
Right.
is a favorite, but I've never like considered those to be favorite shows. It's just more like oh, those
Right.
are good ways to pass the time. But hey, I do see the draw to Survivor. It's been years since I've watched any of it, but I do remember
Yeah.
being pretty pretty entertained by it.
I just love the strategic aspect of the games like that. They go in and it's a big social experiment.
Right,
So they go in and they have to compete with each other and against each other at the same time. It's just super complex. Uh, it's something that I can't get enough of it, man.
right. Yeah, my TV repertoire is much smaller. Um, so I grew up not really having access to cable television. Not for a while. We always had just the VHS stuff, and then eventually we had DVDs, and we would have stuff like SpongeBob sometimes, but we never watched stuff live much. We would see some cartoons, but as I got older, I kind of branched out into Doctor Who and watched that for a while. Um, and then the Marvel stuff, I got hooked on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Didn't really watch the Netflix stuff until now. I'm getting through the Defenders shows, and I absolutely love those. I think they're better than a lot of the Marvel movies. I think
Ooh,
they're so well made, especially Daredevil. That
ooh.
that was a ride. And then Jessica Jones, I'm mixed on. Like I really liked it, but the second and third season just could not match the first one. But it was still like better than the most of the Disney Plus shows that I've seen. At least I don't think those have come near what Netflix was able to do. Um,
Ah,
but I haven't
hot
seen Iron
take,
Fist, so
hot takes.
hot takes, hot takes.
Dude,
Yep,
Loki and WandaVision are top tier shows to me.
those are pretty good.
The only problem with Loki is that I had to wait week to week to watch it.
They do like stringing you out, don't they? They really uh, know how to keep you subscribed on there because I think Disney's aware that they have made a service that is purely for nostalgia, and until they get a lot more new things coming out, I think they've got to do the week to week, unless that's just the method, the model they're gonna stick to, is week to week stuff, which
Well,
a lot of
a
people
lot of
do.
the
Yeah,
yep, that's what I was gonna say. Like Hulu and both Hulu, Paramount Plus, definitely been doing the week to week thing.
right.
Even Netflix to an extent. There are some things that'll be like most of the time they'll release the whole season, but every once in a while they'll be like, here's a couple episodes. You can wait till next week for the next.
Right. But I think their original series, like Umbrella Academy, Stranger Things, and originally the Marvel stuff on there, that was
Oh boy,
all dropped all at once.
let's talk about Umbrella Academy
Oh
for a
boy.
second. I just got excited because I just watched the season 3 trailer
Yeah, yeah.
about 20 minutes ago,
Oh boy.
and I am hyped. for it. When those first season came out, I didn't really know anything about it, but then this I watched it, got hooked on it. Watched the second season. I've seen them both seasons at least twice now, and probably will rewatch them again before season 3 comes out. I'm extremely excited for the third season.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I heard a lot about it, and I didn't get around to it until maybe 2 years ago, right
Right.
when season two was ending, I think. And I was blown away by how fun the characters are. Like, it is fun that it's a superhero show, but like, put that in quotation marks because these guys don't really act like superheroes. They're all pretty self-absorbed, and
Yeah.
I love it when characters are like that. They kind of break the mold of what you're expecting, and it just leads to more interesting plot developments. You know?
Yeah, when got to be careful on this one. When Elliot Page, her her playing or him playing Vanya is a she did such a great job
Mm-hmm.
with the character, and whoever played five, whoever
Yeah.
plays five, he's a extremely good actor for his age.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see what he does in the future.
Right. And then I think one of my favorites is Klaus. Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
Klaus.
what's his? I used to know his name, the actor's name. Um,
Uh,
shoot, hang on, I gotta Google it.
yeah, but no, Klaus is an extremely fun character. Also, I think they all do a really good job of bringing their characters to life.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Robert Sheehan.
Robert Sheehan,
Yeah, he's great. He's been in some other stuff that I've yet to see, but I've seen clips of it, and he's phenomenal.
right? Yeah. Um, but other than those shows, I mean, obviously you were talking about you didn't even have like the older cartoons and stuff too, so we can't touch on that
Yeah.
unless I make you watch old cartoons.
The biggest one that I need to see is Avatar. I've not seen The Last Airbender.
Oh, that is
That's
a big one.
mm-hmm. I have not seen that. And I've also still not watched Young Justice completely. I did see the first season of it though, and I thought it was amazing. But
Yeah,
I
Young
need to
Justice
see
wasn't bad.
yeah, I need to see the second and third seasons.
We also got to get you to watch
Uh
some of these other adult animated shows like Bob's Burgers or maybe even
mm,
Rick and Morty if you're feeling risky.
oh boy. Rick and Morty. I don't know if my
Dude, Rick
comedy level is as advanced enough.
is not advanced enough.
It might not be. That's what I've heard.
You'll get initiated just by watching it, dude.
Oh boy. Yeah. So there's quite a bit of TV I need to get on. Um
Hey, that's
yeah,
fine, man. Once I get you hooked on Avatar, I might be able to get you on anime too.
that's true. I've Spirited Away is the only close to anime thing I've seen, or I guess it is anime, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely anime.
Okay.
I got
Yeah.
to get you to do My Hero. Uh, it's a it's an anime about superheroes. You'd probably be into it.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think the two animes that I'd like to check out are Attack on Titan. I think that one is pretty easily accessible, and then Seven Deadly Sins has got my interest too. So,
Yes, Seven Deadly Sins was a phenomenal one when it came out.
mm,
Uh, and Attack on Titan, that one is massive. I mean, it's not like a super duper long show, but it's as far as popularity goes, is one of the biggest anime out right now.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've seen how big it is. Just its reputation is huge.
Yeah, dude, anime. It's a whole new culture of television, a whole new culture of animation that I think gets a little bit of a bad rap sometimes because a few strange apples.
Yeah, yeah. You get the whole weebs kind of stuff. But yeah, uh, yeah, I'm not against it. It's something that is inevitable, that's for sure.
right?
Yeah. So, um, do we have anything else to cover there, or should we move on to video games?
We can move on to video games.
All right, yeah. Um, Video games is another department that I'm not as experienced in, but probably more than television for sure.
Yeah. I've I'm all over the place with video games too.
Yeah, yeah. Growing up, the first video games I ever played, or I guess I didn't really play them. It was more me, my brother, and my mom. We played the Nancy Drew PC games, and I still play those to this day. I think they're really fun. But then after going through that phase of getting introduced to games, we got an Xbox, so we started playing the movie tie-in games like
Yeah.
Wally, Ratatouille, the Cars game. I thought was really fun. Open Season. Uh, there were just a ton of them that we would play together, and then we got into the Lego games, which I still will play to this day as well. But eventually, it was inevitable that I would get my first PC, and now like my gaming has jumped to Skyrim. I've dabbled in Fallout. I've played. I've poured too many hours into Fallout, or maybe not
Too
enough. I don't know.
too many hours into Fallout?
It's no such thing.
Blasphemy, dude.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. That's more. That's worse than what I said earlier.
I probably have I mean,
Mm,
I've probably got 200 in Fallout alone, but those Bethesda RPGs, man, that and the
mm,
Elder Scrolls,
yeah.
Skyrim, I easily have 700 hours in
Oof. Yeah. I've
across everything that I've played it on.
I've not been able to get into Skyrim as much, and I don't know why. Like I love fantasy. I doesn't make sense that I've not been captivated by Skyrim like I have by Fallout. It's just so weird
And
to me.
you're upsetting Lord Todd Howard.
uh, yeah, probably.
He's gonna re-release the game again because you haven't played it.
Exactly. He's gonna be watching this fuming, steam coming out of his
Yeah,
ears.
it's because of people like you that it keeps getting
Mm,
re-released. Because he's like,
yep.
eventually they'll play it.
He's like everyone on the earth must play Skyrim or else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another one of my favorite games I'd say is Subnautica. Absolutely love that game. Probably my favorite of all time if Fallout 4 didn't exist. And it's
Oh
weird to say
wow.
Fallout 4 is my favorite, but I that's the one I poured the most hours into, despite the reputation that game gets. And then the Assassin's Creed games, I've just started getting into those. Odyssey, I platinumed uh, probably early this year, I think it was.
I think
And
he said something like that. Yeah.
yeah, and then Valhalla, I'm working through it, and Assassin's Creed 4 kind of at the same time. So,
Oh, see, I've been on the Assassin's Creed binge, I guess you'd call it, a marathon of those things. But I started at one, and I'm working my way in release order.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I've got through the first one, and I got through the Ezio collection now.
Right. Yeah, that's one I
So I,
really do want to try. I started with Odyssey because that's the one that captured my interest more than anything else, just because I love Greek mythology. And I was not wrong. The
yeah,
game was an absolute favorite of mine. I played it so many hours. I mean, I
you
platinumed it.
oughta
So,
you oughta get into it's called Immortals Phoenix Rising.
I've never heard of that.
It's yeah, it's made by Ubisoft. It's by the same people that do Assassin's Creed,
Hmm.
and it is big into the Greek mythology.
Hmm.
Um, you get to go and you play a rather unknown character, but you get all sorts of powers from the Greek gods. You get to talk to some of the Greek gods, um, and you battle some of the Titans. Like it's pretty big into the Greek mythology. It's a fantastic game too.
I'll definitely have to check that out. I'm pretty. Pretty sure I've seen it on sale a few times on the PS5. Which, yeah, I'm more a PlayStation gamer. Uh,
Boo!
yeah, yep, yep. I've got my PS5 and I've got my mostly for Spider-Man and the Horizon games. But
This is where the collision part comes
the
in.
collision. Yep,
Yeah, this is where our collision is because I'm more of a Xbox guy.
yep.
Um, I'm not against PlayStation at all. I've just played more Xbox games, and I like the Xbox hardware better. But it at the end of the day, good games are good games, and Sony definitely makes some really good games.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 2018 was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
I think it's the best Spider-Man game by far. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people really like the Spider-Man 2 and the all that with how well they did the web slinging and everything, but
Yeah.
I think as far as game-wise goes, Spider-Man 2018 is definitely
Oh yeah.
one of the best superhero video games. I'd be reluctant to say the best because I have played the Arkham series
Yeah.
of Batman games, and that those are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's always top tier games like Marvel's Avengers.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. No. the game
No,
I the game I paid for twice.
paid for
Uh,
only twice.
only twice. I know. It's
I
crazy.
mean, if we want to drop back to Skyrim, I've bought Skyrim 4 times.
Oh
Um,
boy.
bought Skyrim 4 times, and once I did it, even though I had it on Game Pass already. So, you know, I'm
Yeah.
no stranger to buy the same game multiple times.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, I bought it the first time, of course, just because I wanted to play it. And I enjoyed the story enough that I guess I wanted to buy it a second time on the PC to play it with my brother. But uh, yeah, I
The multiplayer in that game
multiplayer
is whack.
multiplayer wasn't worth it. No.
No,
So
see,
yeah.
I'm getting real into uh these big story driven horror games. And this is new.
Yeah.
See, this is new. I've been into like horror movies for a minute, but these horror games that I've been into recently are I don't know, some of them are blowing me away here. Um the latest one I played, I was a little late on the wagon here was Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
It and I think most of the stuff Remedy has done, that's the people that make it. Most of the stuff that they've done has been really good, and it all really started with Alan Wake. Um, and then they've done a few other games. Their stories are just really well crafted together,
Yeah.
and they're actually currently working on Alan Wake 2, which is going to be a open world survival horror game. So it'll
Hmm.
be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I've played some of those, like Until Dawn. I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was great. Um, and then just in that genre of like the more walking kind of games, I don't
Walking
that's not walking
simulators.
simulator. Yeah.
That's
Uh,
what their I mean that's what their unofficial genre name is. Like
right.
the What Remains of Edith Finch
Yeah. Yeah.
game like that.
That
They're
game.
just super good.
Oh yeah, and like
They're
Detroit Become Human is a really big favorite of mine. I liked that game a lot for
right.
some reason. Although it wasn't exactly subtle messaging, it was still. I mean, it was still good. It was still great. So
I believe that the developers of that game were also Heavy Rain. They also made Heavy Rain,
yeah, yeah.
which I did play a little bit of Heavy Rain. I never got around to Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
but I did play a little bit of Heavy Rain, and it's pretty good. I like games that give you choices like that. The narrative choice games.
Yeah,
Um, Don't Nod and Deck Nine. They make the Life is Strange games, and those are in my top
Mm,
10.
yeah,
Or that series is in my top 10
right,
games of all time. Um, it's just the way they delve into stuff like mental health and the way that they craft their stories around stuff like that is it's really good to see that people are aware of it and that people are willing to make stories about it and that those stories are really good.
right, yeah. Life is Strange is one I have not completely played through. We played the first episode together, me and a couple friends, and I was really into it. But then we tried to play the other ones, and it turned out she didn't own them. So I just haven't got
Right.
around to buying it yet. But it's one I definitely am gonna buy and just power
Oh
through
yeah.
and get the
That
achievements.
get the you're just an achievement hunter,
Oh
man.
yeah, when I enjoy a game a lot, I'm like, yeah, I want to get all the achievements for it.
See, I'm really glad I'm not like that or else I'd spend even more time on video games. I've
uh,
got I got a goal to try to beat one a week here right now and I mean where are we at? We're in May and I've
yep.
beaten about 20 something,
You're on track.
23.
Yeah, you're on track.
Pretty on track. Um Obviously, I mean I spent a ridiculous amount of time this year on Elden Ring,
Yep.
which I mean you're sitting next to an Elden Lord. How does that make you feel, dude?
Inadequate. Yeah. I definitely. I don't know. I do not have the motivation to try and get better at the game.
Get good.
Get good. Yeah, I can't get good.
I mean,
Basically.
in my there's nothing that bad about that. I mean,
Right.
you're missing out on a phenomenal game, but at the same time, it's not the story isn't right there. I can understand why people don't like Elden Ring,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I really love it, but
Mm-hmm.
I can understand the inappeal, the not appeal.
Yeah.
What's not appealing about it, you know?
Yeah. It's like I was about to say that people who just don't like Dark Souls probably aren't into it, but that's not true because I've heard so many people who didn't like the Dark Souls series, but they love Elden Ring. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just one of
El-
the. I'm definitely in a minority. I think.
I mean, Elden Ring is a lot more forgiving at the end of the day
Oh yeah.
compared to the rest of the Souls series. It gives you a lot more to do,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have like once you get to this point, it's a roadblock until you beat it.
Right.
Whereas you know in Elden Ring you can go and explore the open world to try to get stronger before you do that.
Yeah.
And then I guess we can talk real quick because well maybe not even real quick because Pokemon is obviously a big thing for me.
Right.
Um, Big into Pokemon and a lot of Nintendo games. I will say the console wars. A lot of people just talk about Xbox and PlayStation, but Nintendo's sitting here winning every year, and nobody's saying a word about it.
Yeah. We do own a Switch, and I can admit that a lot of the games on there are quite fun. I've never really been into Mario that much. Um,
Right.
or Pokemon. I've really only played Pokemon Go, but I definitely see the Nintendo appeal. I've also never really played Zelda before. It's just I was not a Nintendo kid, so I don't have the nostalgic draw to those games.
Well, I mean, even without a nostalgic draw, you can look at a game like Breath of the Wild, and
Mm-hmm.
it is just a joy to play.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those games that it's not holding your hand at all. It's saying do what you want, figure out stuff at your own pace. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could go straight towards the final bad guy at the very beginning of the game.
Right.
It's one of the most open games I've ever seen, or ever had the joy to play. kind of like Elden Ring, but a little bit easier.
Right. Yeah, it's one I do want to get around to. And some of the older Zelda games too, because I have a GameCube and the games I own on there are just they're all the movie tie-in games. So I really want
Yeah.
to find like Double Dash, which is still around $60. It's as much as a new game is, even though it's a
Well,
GameCube game. It's crazy.
if you want a original copy of Pokemon Gold or Silver, which came out in I believe 2000,
Hmm.
you're probably looking to spend $120.
Shoot. Yeah. Yeah, GameCube games are expensive, man. A
Yeah.
lot of those older games.
I will
Uh.
say that's only if you want an original cartridge. You can get it on
Hmm.
the well, actually, since they're closing down the 3DS store, you won't be able to get it for very long, but you can get it for about $10 on the 3DS store right now.
Ah. Yeah.
But if you want a cartridge of it, you're looking to spend over $100 on that bad boy.
Wow. It says a lot about a game when it costs that much just to get it. You know. Like.
Yeah, a lot of those retro games are like that, man. You're not gonna find um, a lot of games from the older generations that people are wanting to get rid of.
Right.
And if they do want to get rid of it, they want to make sure that they're getting their money for it.
Yeah. And it's just something you can't really see in this generation. And no game that's around now is ever gonna be like that to future generations because now it's all digital.
Yeah,
Anyone can
everything's
own it.
digital.
So even if a game like Elden Ring is as good as it is, you're not gonna have like in the future like it's not gonna cost $100 to get a copy. You can probably still download it. I don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
Who
in
knows?
fact, it'll probably drop in price because most things
Yeah.
do. The
Oh
age
yeah.
of digital media has been pretty pretty good on people's wallets.
Oh yeah. And like it's not bad. It's great to have such easy access to games. Like anyone can play games, but there's just something you lose when you go all digital. I don't know if
I
it's a
mean,
huge loss, but there's something that you're losing, I guess.
I mean, I get that,
Mm-hmm.
and part of me, I mean, but I'll end up buying everything.
Yeah.
I'm just a endless pool of backlog,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I'm trying to complete games weekly because I got 400 plus games in my backlog, and I just keep buying games every week.
Yeah.
Not very good for my wallet.
Right. uh, all right. Well, we're rolling around the 50-minute mark. So I
Oh
think we
wow!
need to we need to jump into books, comics and music round off this discussion.
All
We
right,
talked
that's
about video
fine.
games for quite a bit there.
Pretty easy to talk about video games
it
though.
it definitely is. It's something that we're
Well,
going to have to come back to.
let's talk about those books and comics real quick.
Yes, yes. So, what's your relationship to books and comics?
I mean, I read some. I'm not gonna say that uh comics like North American comics are big for me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
read them very often. I'm definitely more into the Japanese manga and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I've been reading uh little known manga by known as One Piece. I've been reading that for forever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's only got 1,049 chapters. I'm sure you could get through it.
Wow. Ugh.
But it's so good though. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but comics and manga, those are two things that I do like. I like the visuals with my reading.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy that. I can read regular books all day long too, but when it comes to stuff you get to see artists do their art and tell a story at the same time.
Right.
it's something that's just more appealing than just reading a book, you know?
Yeah, and for me, I read more of your typical comic book stuff, North American comics, I guess. Um, and not much of the new stuff though. I read a lot of older comics, like the original Spider-Man series. The X-Men is a big favorite of mine. I started in the 80s for Batman just because I did not want to get through his early runs. I wanted to get more to the Batman I know, I guess. I'm sure there's quality stories before that, but like Batman Year One, I
Yeah.
think, was a shift for the character. So I started there and I went through a different reading order, and it was some high quality stuff. Comics can give you some great stories, and while a lot of the older stuff can be a little campy, there's still some really good stuff in there. Like most recently, I've been reading the New Mutants because that launched at where I'm at in the timeline, and
Right.
it was rough getting through a lot of the early stuff. Some very troubling things that would not fly today, but there was one point where they switched artists, and it was clear because it was so much better than the previous ones were, and the story was much deeper than the older ones. And I was like, all right, here we go. This is why the New Mutants got a movie, despite that movie not being great. But that comic was what the movie was based off of, and I can see why. And that just that'll happen sometimes. You know, you go through a lot of your pretty good comics. Some of them are just filler, but then you'll get some of those that are just they're beautifully drawn, beautiful stories, and it's a great medium.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I was going to bring up that I had read through the Walking Dead comics,
Mm-hmm.
and there are definitely times where the comics and show they vary so different
Mm-hmm.
that they're basically two separate stories by the end of them,
Right.
because several major plot points in the TV series happen differently than the comic to keep people on their toes. They didn't
Right.
want people to read the comics and then go to the TV show and be like, oh well, everything's exact frame for frame here.
Yeah.
Uh, but the comic books still have they have their charm to them that you won't get with a TV show. You won't get the same charm
Oh yeah.
that you'll get with something like a comic. Um, and then I recently tried getting into the Umbrella Academy comic too.
Mm-hmm.
I only got through a little bit of it, but it it's just interesting to me that was just he was a guy that was writing music and he decided, I'm gonna write a comic book.
Yeah. And look at where it is now.
Yeah, it exploded in popularity.
It
So
did. Yeah, and then of course, just regular old books. I've read plenty of those in the past. Not so much nowadays, but I used to read a lot of the classics. Lord of the Rings. I read those.
Lord of
Tre-
the Rings,
yeah, Treasure
Hungry
Island.
Caterpillar.
um, speaking about Hunger Games. I did like those. I liked those. Whoa, what a
I
transition.
I did like the Hunger Game book series is real good to me. I did like
Mm,
that one. Um, Another one that was a big book series that I read um was Percy Jackson, and
yeah.
when I ended up watching those movies, this is the reason why I don't like reading books first anymore. Is because when I watched those movies, I got so upset about how bad those movies were
Oh yeah.
in comparison to the book series.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so now I won't read a book series until I've seen its source or till I've seen its movie counterpart, so
Yeah.
I don't ruin it for myself.
Yeah, because whenever there's an adaptation of something, you know, it will never live up to the original. So you gotta kind of view it on its own, and then look at what came before it. And usually it'll still be better, but you won't hate the movie quite as much. Kind of
I
Like with Harry Potter for me. I read the books after the movies, and I'm sure I would have disliked the movies a little bit more, at least the later ones. But
right.
I like them both a lot still. So.
See, there's that same issue with manga. Kind of similar issue with manga where the adaptations into anime sometimes they don't hit their mark at all, but
Hmm.
sometimes they do it better,
Yeah.
and that's like I think that's what the TV like making them into TV shows probably makes it a little easier because they have more time to play with
Yeah.
rather than trying to cramp the whole story into 2 hours.
Right.
But like I said, those adaptations sometimes they can be real bad, and sometimes they can even be better than the source material because they manage to pace it better or something like that because you don't have to sit there and wait week to week for it. You can just watch it all at once, you know.
Right. Right.
But as far as regular books go, I don't actually think I'm reading any right now.
Hmm.
Other than I do read a lot of psychology uh, books and stuff about psychology, different psychological disorders, but that's not like big entertainment, you know.
Right.
That's more what I like to research.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I was in school, of course, that with my bachelor of theological studies, of course, I got a ton of books left over from that that I'll kind of open up now and then. But again, that's not more. That's less entertaining. That's more for my job field. So.
Yeah, I not even low key, high key will. I'll just read a Shakespeare play for fun. Uh, I've got several of them sitting in my bookcase.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know why. It's just something I enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Books and stuff that I enjoy. I like plays. I do like reading screenplays, if that makes sense. Um, just because it's a different way of telling a story.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely pretty interesting. I didn't like them when I was in school, but I appreciate them now.
Mm.
Yeah. Um. All right. So the last category we had was music. If you're ready to go into that.
See, music. Music's been probably the biggest out of all these things, the biggest impact on my life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I like most genres of music, um, and honestly, I love playing music. I love writing music. I love listening to music. Everything about music is a must-have for my life and a definite highlight of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if music has impacted me quite as much, but yeah, yeah. For you, it's a lot bigger. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's music. As far as music goes, I mean, I've got a span of things from the 40s all the way to things nowadays. All of these genres, all of the old school like 80s hair bands, all the stuff that's in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I was raised on that stuff. That was the stuff I was raised on. So the newer stuff to me is well, the newer stuff to me is the newer stuff to everybody, but the stuff that's come out in the last 10 years, those are the things that I'm just now discovering. Like, I was raised on all that stuff. So even songs that came out while I was in high school, I'm just now learning about them now
Yeah.
because I was so far in the past working forwards, you know?
Yeah, and I have a very similar history actually. I was raised a lot on 80s and 70s stuff, but I also had the Christian music side as well, which I only really recently kind of broke out of I don't know, a few years ago. I would only really listen to that exclusively. But I was like, you know what? There's a lot of other stuff that I heard through the years that I now want to go back and listen to. I'm just like, I'm rediscovering a lot of it. Like Taylor Swift has suddenly become one of my favorite artists of all time because I never really listened to her stuff, but I think she has some phenomenal lyrics. She's really good at writing lyrics. Um,
See that
yeah.
that's something that I'd recently got into. Well, I say recently. Um, right fresh out of high school, I would have hated rap. I hated rap music. I wasn't big into rap,
Yeah.
but as of late, I've been uh top 5% of Eminem's listeners on Spotify
Right.
since since 2017. I've been one of his. I just have been a super big fan of him, and he is the most lyrical person
Mm-hmm.
I've ever seen in the field.
Yeah.
Every lyric he has is a triple entendre, quadruple even sometimes.
Right.
So breaking down his music is ridiculously fun to me
Mm-hmm.
because it has so much layered meaning.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Rap. I didn't used to be into rap that much either, but I don't know if you can consider Hamilton rap, but it's closer to it. So I think thanks to Hamilton, I probably would get into it a lot easier than I would, let's say, like 5 years ago.
Right. I mean, but most genres of music, they all bring something different, something that anybody can pull one of those genres of music and try to listen to it, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
eventually find something they like. I've never met a person that's been like, "No, I don't like music at all." Like, I that just doesn't exist. I don't think music is something that I think anybody can get into.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, there's so many different artists, and they're all different in a certain ways.
Oh yeah. It's music is just something special. There's just something about it that
Yeah,
everyone has a place in there. They can find something they like.
exactly,
Yeah,
man.
and that's pretty cool. Yeah, and it goes well with other stuff too. Like, I don't think movies would be nearly as good as they are without music. Like
Oh
that's
no,
something I enjoy listening to a lot. Is just the soundtracks to movies, like the Star
let's.
Wars theme, or even the Marvel movies have some pretty good music sometimes. Or like
Oh, definitely.
Guardians of the Galaxy with it would be nowhere near as good as it is without the 80s soundtrack behind it, you know?
Totally agreeable. I agree. The same thing with video games.
Oh yeah.
Their sound design wasn't good, it wouldn't be fun to play the games as much. It wouldn't be nearly as fun if
Yeah,
you didn't have some of the best songs come from video games.
exactly. Or even like TV shows, like TV show theme songs. Like you can probably hum the Office tune that starts before every episode, you know? Or
Easily.
who can't sing to SpongeBob, you know? It's like music is just a part of life. It's just
Music's
there.
a part of everything.
Yeah. So it's probably something that inevitably we will talk about with every other topic we cover.
Yes.
Because I,
Hopefully we'll be able to cover a large range of topics. We don't want to
mm,
be just one trick ponies here. We want to be able to talk about a lot of stuff, and that's what this first episode I feel was about. I feel like it's just talking about what we. This is just a little hint, a little what could we talk about, you know?
yeah, definitely. So what's our plan for the future here? What do we want to tease that's coming up?
I mean, we were talking about Jurassic World.
Yep, yep. The third Jurassic World movie comes out in about 2 weeks.
Yep. So if we wanted to, we could definitely rewatch the first two movies and
See what we think. Yeah.
yeah,
I think that will That'll be the topic coming up next week. Yeah. Um, and then for the future, it's just I guess whatever we feel like or whatever might be topical. I
I
don't.
mean, this could also easily just be about us trying to figure out new stuff. Okay, so there's stuff that I watch that you don't know anything about. There's stuff you do
Mm,
and watch that I don't know anything about.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's where this is where this collision comes in. We have different takes. Like you are bigger into the movie scene than I am, where I'm bigger into the TV show
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're that's where they collide, you know?
Yeah.
So,
You're bigger into horror, and I'm probably more into musicals.
well, I don't know about that, but but
Okay. Fine.
there are big things that we could end up doing. We could just do stuff that we want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we could do stuff that you guys want us to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who
So,
knows?
yeah, if you enjoy talking to us, make sure you follow us on wherever you're listening to it right now. Um, but especially on YouTube. That's where a lot of stupid and necessary stuff will be going on. Not just
Hope
this podcast.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get some of the other stupid but necessary stuff. And I thank you guys for, letting me join the team.
Yeah, for sure. This is a very exciting direction we're taking the channel in, and I hope we all are committed enough to bring it that way, and I hope people actually enjoy it. That's my biggest hope is that people enjoy listening to us talk. Maybe they'll get something out of it.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So again, thank you guys for listening to us. Give us a follow, like, rate us, whatever you want to do, and give us ideas for future podcasts. All right.
Yep. Signing off.
Signing off.